Christian theologians and philosophers have propounded the doctrine of the just war. And what is the doctrine of the just war? It's an attempt by Christians to reconcile three basic things. Taking human life is wrong. Every Christian agrees. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people. And my name is Kwesi Adosampo. Welcome to Life and Religion Issues.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Hit that subscribe button.
Good evening, brothers and sisters in Christ. Today is another day we've met to discuss issues of life and religion. As we all know, our faith, our religion has a direct bearing on our life. And in our quest for meaning, most often we look into our religion and try to make meaning out for ourselves. What happens? And so today we have a very current issue. It's about this very week, or late last week, that we all heard that Russia has invaded Ukraine. And we don't want to talk about the geopolitics of it. But what we want to talk about is that I saw a video where every male Ukrainian so loved their country, so patriotic that even those who were no soldiers joined the militia, got the guns, and they were ready to fight and die for their country, which is commendable. And I believe everybody, the whole world, seeing the heroism of Ukrainians and applauding them. Then I saw a group of Christians under a shed, a bomb shed, and they were singing and praying. And me as a Christian, I admire them, and I recommend that. That's what the Bible says, that in all your ways acknowledge God. And so that is the right thing for the Christian to do when you get caught up in a disaster like this, where the bombing is coming not only on military installations, but on where civilians live, on apartments, in hospitals, in schools. You need to pray to God. Then I ask myself, should they continue to pray and pray until the war is over for God's intervention? Or should they finish praying and also take up arms and try to defend their country? So today what we want to discuss is that in the event of a war, is the Christian supposed to take up arms and defend his country patriotically, or the Christian will only pray and wait for others to go and fight for them? So that is a question that I want to discuss. And as we always do, we have a live audience who would ask questions or bring their suggestions. Nobody knows it all. And those who are not part of this live audience, what I will crave is that you have a comment session. So watch it, put your comments down, whether you agree or disagree, or if you have a question, write your question down, and we will come and try to address whatever you put down. So that is what we want to discuss today. My name is Kwesi Adosampo, and you are welcome to go along with me.
Hello, thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe to our channel, click on the bell, like and comment. Thank you very much.
This is not something that we are discussing. That's happened over and over and over. And Christian theologians and philosophers have propounded the doctrine of the just war. And what is the doctrine of the just war? The just war theory is an attempt by Christians to reconcile three basic things. The first thing is that taking human life is wrong. Every Christian agrees that taking human life is wrong. The second point is that states have a duty to defend their citizens and defend justice. States have a duty to defend their citizens and defend justice. And then point number 3, protecting innocent human life and defending important moral values sometimes requires willingness to use force and violence. So these are the three basic things that we try to reconcile under the doctrine of the just war. The first thing is that taking human life is seriously wrong. But the second point is that states have a duty to protect innocent life, to protect their citizens and defend justice. And then point 3 is that protecting innocent human life and defending important moral values sometimes requires willingness to use force and violence. The theory of the just war specifies conditions for judging if it is just to go to war and conditions for how this war should be fought. This is extensively developed by Christians, but is used by other people, the just war. The just war theory does not mean that war is good. War is always bad because people suffer, people die, normal life is disrupted, trade does not go on, food becomes scarce, and it is really a traumatic event for any country to have to go through war. So war is never, ever just. However, sometimes going to war is the best of the other options that anybody can. So when we say just war, we are talking of when it is really permissible to go to war. And those people who the origin of this just war actually comes from classical Greek and Roman philosophers. Somebody like Plato have talked about it. Plato is a Greek philosopher, and Cicero, Roman philosopher, has also talked about it. However, Christian theologians like Thomas Aquinas and Augustine have also made input into the just war. There are two conditions that they talk about when we're talking about the just war. Conditions under which the use of military force is permissible and how to conduct a war in an ethical manner. War is a just war if it is both justified and carried out in the right way. And so we use this just war theory to try to bring it to terms. And we are talking about countries. Do countries go to war and should they not go to war? And we use the just war concept to try to agree or disagree whether we should go to war or not go to war. what are conditions, what are just conditions that should be there before war happens? The first one that you can think of is defending yourself. The issue in question is Ukrainians were living, going about their own business, and then a bigger, larger force, Russia, comes against them and invade their country. That is a typical example of an invasion that really causes people to believe that this is it's a just way to defend your family, to defend your country, to be patriotic and defend yourself. And so that is why the whole world seems to be lauding Ukrainians for what they are doing. When a country is also unnecessarily being dishonored, and dishonoring a country is maybe burning their flag, or when a country receives attempts to kill, assassinate important people from another country, maybe the president, the Supreme Court, or this person, that person, then is it not justified for the country to defend their sovereignty? So these are things that is just causes, some of them just causes for a just war to happen. I don't want us to go too deep into it, into the just war. And then we have the way and manner that we conduct a just war. Normally, combatants are supposed to be having that skirmishes. When I say combatants, people in military gear who have the gun and who comes to attack you, those are the combatants. Normally, it will be humane for a country like Russia to try to incapacitate Ukraine by crippling their military bases, the airports, where the ammunition is, but definitely inhumane when people are not able to defend themselves, like women, like people in a hospital. A hospital, you send a missile to blast a hospital. Like a school, like an apartment building. That is not the right way. Even if the war is justified, the way to wage it, the right way, is to attack military bases, attack the military, attack their weaponry, attack so that they are not able to fight back, but not to attack non-combatants or not to attack injured soldiers, not to attack people who lay their tools down because they are surrounded, not to kill them. It is better to take them as prisoners of war, but not to slaughter them. That is not just. So the war may be just, but the way and manner that it is pursued may be very, very unjust. Now, coming back home, should the Christian, having tried to define what a just war is, should the Christian take up arms? Because the Christian has been taught to love his enemy, to turn the other cheek, and all that. So should the Ukrainian Christian or any other Christian from anywhere fight, shoot to kill the enemy that comes with a gun? You are not the aggressor. You are in your own place, going about your own business, and then somebody decides to put you, your family, your way of life into danger. As a Christian, after you finish praying, are you justified to take up arms and go and defend your country, your family, your way of life, or are you to turn the other cheek? That really is the question. From the principle of the just war, I believe that the Christian should pray, but the Christian should also take up arms like any other patriotic person in the country and defend to the death his motherland. That means that the Christian should also take up arms and shoot to kill the enemy who is coming in to shoot and kill his family. More especially when the enemy is not even discriminating against combatants and not combatants. They are shooting at our hospitals, they are shooting at our children in the schools, they are shooting at our living apartments. If that is to happen, I think the Christian has a right to take up arms and go and in love defend himself by lovingly shooting to kill the enemy who is come to attack. Yeah, you do that with love. Yeah, because the person did not see the sanctity of your life, and you cannot, in all good conscience, be that hypocritical and say that you will not do anything about it, and watch and let your wife or your husband or your children and your way of life be disrupted. I think you have all right. And my friend just showed me Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 9, right? And now, verse 19 and 20, and I have my Bible here, and I'm going to open Nehemiah and then look at it. And I'm going to read Nehemiah chapter 4. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 19. Chapter 4. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 13. We all know the story of Nehemiah. Nehemiah was living in exile and then serving the king when he heard that the walls of Jerusalem had been burned down, broken down, and Jerusalem had become a prey for every nation. And he came as a governor to try to build the walls of Jerusalem. And whilst they were building the walls of Jerusalem, the enemy were threatening to attack them so that they will not finish the work. And Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 13 says, "Therefore I stationed some of the people behind the lowest points of the wall at the exposed places, posting them by families with their swords and spears and bows. After I looked things over, I stood up and said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, 'Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your homes.'" So what Nehemiah is saying that, remember the Lord, it means pray. Know that God is with you, pray. But he did not say when you finish praying, go and sleep. He says, fight for your wives, fight for your families, fight for your home. And God will be with us. Amen. And so, is it right for a Christian, because of the principle of a just war, I believe if your country is invaded, like Ukraine is being invaded, I believe that you have every right to fight for your family and defend your motherland. Because everybody, God gave us a land, a piece of land. This is where God has put us into. This is our land.
Hi, I'm Bryson. Hey, I'm Noah. Please subscribe now. Please subscribe now.
Christian theologians and philosophers have propounded the doctrine of the just war. And what is the doctrine of the just war? It's an attempt by Christians to reconcile three basic things. Taking human life is wrong. Every Christian agrees. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people. And my name is Kwesi Ado Sampon. Welcome to Life and Religion Issues.